20 miles north of Dumfries is the village of Moniaive. Nestled in a valley where the three glens of Craigdarragh, Dalwat and Castlefern meet. It's said to have welcomed some notable visitors over the years, including Robert the Bruce, King James IV and Bonnie Prince Charlie.
He's been on the job too long. Well, twinkle, twinkle.
Most visitors nowadays come for the music.
The local economy was hit hard by foot-and-mouth disease in 2001. Being a largely rural community, people were keen to find new sources of income. The annual Michaelmas Bluegrass Festival was launched and became a lifeline for the village.
The festival was established by two local musicians, Northern Ireland native Paul Little and his Dutch wife, Anya. Paul first moved to Scotland to train as a nurse, before eventually settling with his family in Moniaive.
And what was it like, that culture change between County Down as you were and Galloway now?
Oh, well, probably it's easier to talk about the similarities, but of course there are differences. I've got friends who come to stay here and they say that if they were blindfolded and left here and the blindfold taken off, they would think they were in Ireland. And also when you hear the people talking, particularly when you head over to Galloway and hear the Galloway Irish talking, although there's a real Wigtonshire twang there that isn't in County Down.
Well, some of Galloway does look like County Down, some of it looks like County Antrim, but it also looks a bit like the Shenandoah Valley or the foothills of the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, one of our favourite bands comes from White Top Mountain in Virginia, the White Top Mountain Band. And they landed here and they said it just reminded them of Virginia. And we went over to visit them and we could see why they said that. The similarities in the landscape are amazing.
Well, we met over music, but tell me, how did the music festival get started?
Well, we started off being very much into folk music, Irish, Scottish especially, and then Paul took me to a bluegrass festival in Northern Ireland, big one, and I just fell in love with bluegrass and especially old-timey music. So one day, on a very dismal January evening, we sat in the pub. It was very cold and very wet, and we talked about festivals, and I said, could we not just have a bluegrass festival? And Paul said, OK, let's go for it then. So we started a bluegrass festival that year on a very, very tight budget.
Well, how did the community here respond to you bringing an Appalachian music festival to the hills of Galloway?
And they were very positive because part of the reason we did it was the love of music, and the other part, it's a small village. We had a folk festival, but nothing else much. So we thought that if we did one at the end of September rather than May, a big festival, that would bring in quite a lot of money into the village, and it has done. It's got, very popular, getting people from all over the world now coming here.
Bluegrass emerges in a world where people from Ireland and Scotland and Ulster Scots folk all take their instruments and get together and produce something that has a sound of HAME, but it sounds different at the same time.
Yes. I have got very, very interested in the travel of music from Ireland, Scotland, across the borders, and also going into over to America and the melting pot of music there, and I love playing it.
This is a tune collected by Robert Burns, which he used for his song Ye Banks and Braes of Bonnie Doon. Music, the poetry of Burns and religious traditions. These are just some of the shared links between Northern Ireland and this part of Scotland that have had an impact across the world.
And there are still so many connections left to discover. Join us next week when we'll be